everybody? Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch, and today we're going to talk about UFC 251 going down on the infamous Fight Island that we've been hearing about for months. Now, on this card, we have 3 title fights for the vacant bantamweight title at 135. We have the featherweight title at 145 and the welterweight title at 170. In those fights, we got Jose Aldo versus Peter Yan at 35. We've got Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway in a rematch at 145. And then we have Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal at 170. So for the sake of keeping this video fairly short, I'm going to go touch on the lower weight fights, and then I'm going to break down the main event and with a little bit more depth. So as I was saying, we've got the 135-pound title, which has been left vacant after Henry Cejudo retired promptly after beating Dominic Cruz in his last fight. So in this one, we got Aldo in his second fight after coming down from 45, which is strange because for years we heard that he was such a huge featherweight and he should go up to 55, but he dropped down to 35. Had a really good showing versus Marlon Moraes, but came out on the short end and lost the fight. Peter Yan is on a hot streak, and he is coming into this fight stopping Uriah Faber and having a lot of good high-profile performances up to this point. Now, the fan of me is going to root for Aldo to win because, like I said, he's been a staple of the featherweight division for many years. Great fighter, a big fan of his. But as far as the pick for the fight, I believe that Yan's youth, used to being at that weight, will carry him on to victory. So with Volkanovski and Holloway, we saw Volkanovski completely undress Holloway, and he had no answers for the movement or the leg kicks of Volkanovski, and it led to a very decisive victory. And I think we see that again. Holloway could, cut the octagon off, get timing in between Volkanovski's volleys to try to negate those and score some maybe heavier punches, but Volkanovski also pretty much landed those as well in the first fight. So I'm not really seeing that happening. I think we see Volkanovski take this one as well, maybe a bit more convincingly, seeing that Holloway said that all of his training was virtual and he was not able to do any sparring. That's not a good thing going into a title fight, but we'll see. You never know. So let's go into the main event. Usman, Masvidal. This is the fight that we wanted to see since Usman dispatched Covington in his last fight in his first defense of the welterweight title. Masvidal, the month before that, beat Nate Diaz, winning the BMF title, something that they made up. And, the fight was entertaining, but that was 3 straight stoppage victories for Masvidal, making him the hot guy in that division. Usman coming off the defeat of Woodley to take the title, and then the highly exciting defense and breaking Covington's jaw, stopping him and silencing him for a few months. This was the fight people wanted to see. However, politics got involved, fight politics. Masvidal was not getting that fight. Gilbert Burns then has an excellent showing versus Tyron Woodley for pretty much like a #1 contendership fight. So he then gets the spot against Usman, but unfortunately he tests positive for COVID-19 and has to be pulled from the card. So we hope that he recovers fully and is able to compete again. So we then get the fight that everybody wants, which is Masvidal and Usman. So with this, you have 2 highly polished strikers. One in Masvidal, who we know came into the game through Kimbo Slice's backyard brawls, then had a long MMA career through several different promotions, long-time UFC veteran. known for very crisp boxing, very decent kickboxing skills, good defense on takedowns and submissions. However, he has been submitted and he has been stopped, but it has not happened in a very long time. In his last few losses, he was outworked by Stephen Thompson and Damian Maia, which is not the best indicator versus somebody like Kamaru Usman, but Kamaru Usman in his fight versus Colby Covington was hit a lot. He was hit a lot versus Damian Maia as well, even though he won both of those fights. So that gives Masvidal a chance because Masvidal is a very crisp striker. And even though he has knocked out his last few opponents, I think that may end up overrating his power a bit because I believe he's got like 35, 36 fights. His knockout percentage is under 50%. That doesn't mean that he can't land any meaningful shots on Usman. Usman is a very, very polished striker for someone who's only been doing MMA for a few years. And he also lands some very heavy punches. He doesn't have too many knockouts either, but when he lands with authority, and it changes dynamics in fights. You saw it a lot versus Covington. When he did start to land against Maia, it did change the landscape of the fight. Now, Masvidal has the confidence of being in there with a who's who of people, but then again, so does Usman. He went in there, he took Tyron Woodley's right hand. He took the barrage of Colby Covington. His chin has been tested and has passed that test thus far. So, what do we get in this fight? We've got Masvidal, who, like I said, has very good defense, very good striking, against Usman, who has very good striking, but he has that wrestling in his back sleeve. Someone like Tyron Woodley, who stopped Damian Maia from taking him down for 25 minutes, had absolutely nothing for him and was manhandled for 5 rounds. Colby Covington, who usually likes to mix up his takedowns with a lot of volume, never even tried to take Usman down. And that coming from a highly decorated Division I wrestler. Usman was a Division II champ. And back to Woodley, same thing. Division I pedigree. Had nothing for Usman. So this man's physical power is something different. You see it with the people that he's been taking on in the octagon. They're not engaging in that game at all with him. So that's something that if he decides to utilize, it's going to be a problem for Masvidal. I don't really see him being able to keep Usman from being able to take him down repeatedly over the course of 5 rounds. There's also the gas tank factor. Masvidal has not been 5 rounds. Usman has. So going 5 rounds with somebody that's going to grind with you and stand there with you and make you work, and you weren't training for a title fight when this guy was, poses a problem for Masvidal. So with all that together, plus Usman being the natural welterweight, he's fought at this weight his entire career. Masvidal has not. He moved up from lightweight, and that could play a factor in this as well when those rounds start to get late, unless Masvidal can catch him and stop him. I really see that as the only way he beats Usman. And like I said, his chin has been proven. He's been hit. He's been cracked pretty hard. Has not shown any serious effects of being hurt. So I'm picking Usman by decision, where those 4th and 5th rounds may get a little ugly, where he's going to really start to take over in those last 2 rounds and really do some hardcore grinding, cage pressure, probably some big takedowns, and secure the victory. So let me know what you guys think. Hit us up in the comment section below. Let us know what you think, who you think is going to win, how they're going to win. And then we'll see you all in the recap after the fight, where we talk about what we got wrong, what we got right, and make plans for the next fights coming up. So make sure you hit us up on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, Capital of Combat. Like I said, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get the updates, and we'll see you all in the next video. Till then, fight on.
And cut.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.